Oh
I felt
man,
like I went back in time 50 years. I couldn't watch TV, nothing. I couldn't do anything. Once the Wi-Fi's gone, we're done, guys.
right. Yeah.
Brandon, what's up with you?
Well, not too much, man. Working a lot, but yeah, trying to read as much as I can about Chicago sports. Well, we're in dead water, I should say. I guess nothing going on, but yeah, been a good day, man. Good
All
day.
right.
Spend
So,
most of my day outside.
Whew.
well, that's a good way to spend it. I saw you with the horses over there. I mean, just makes me think of Yellowstone. You out there with those horses,
Yeah,
like one of the Duttons.
yeah. I was thinking about taking one to the train station. They were getting annoying.
Mm.
All right, guys. So, our tag tonight, we're talking about Connor Williams. Now, um, all of it is speculation, as far as I can tell, up to this point, in terms of Connor Williams. Will he? Won't he? Where he? All those things. Is he actually healthy? His agent saying Drew Rosenhaus is saying he's healthy, but is he legitimately healthy? Hi, Patty. Hi, Bruce. What's up, guys? So yeah, we need to kind of discuss this and unwrap it and see if we think, first of all, it makes sense for the Chicago Bears to pursue a guy like Connor Williams, and then second of all, how does it help this offensive line and the Chicago Bears aspirations for playoffs in the upcoming season? Start with you, Darius. What do you think about this Connor Williams stuff that's going around?
It's interesting. Um, I think if he was to come to be a part of this offensive line, he'll definitely be a strength to it. I know he's injured now or he's in rehab, but I don't know how far along he is or how what's the percentage of him health wise. But if we can get him at 100%, I think it'd be great for us. But I wouldn't be just down in the dumps if he didn't come. But any good offensive lineman is an improvement to our unit.
Yeah, no doubt. Depth is always going to be something you're looking for on the offensive line, especially when we have injury concerns across ours already. We have
Mhm.
some question marks. Brandon, what are your thoughts on this Connor Williams stuff that's going around in Chicago? Fans seem to really want him.
Yeah, I think Darius just hit the nail on the head. Improvement, right? I think he's an improvement from what they have at the center position already. And they're already talking about possibly moving Ryan Bates to right guard if Nate Davis doesn't, I don't know, meet the Bears' expectations of what it sounds like. So I think if you can get immediate improvement at any position on that line with a rookie quarterback, it's worth taking a shot on. I know that the guy is projected to be healthy before the season starts, but I don't think he'll be able to like participate in pads through majority of the offseason. So he'll probably have some catching up to do, even if he's ready for week one. I wouldn't expect to see him in a jersey, maybe on the
Well,
sideline. But
well,
go
hey,
ahead.
Drew Rosenhaus came out today or recently and said that he's recovering miraculously. Like I said, it's his agent. That's his job to do that. He's saying he's going to be ready for a training camp. They were expecting to see him to get to a team sometime in the mid-season during the season when it had already started. So now they're saying they expect him to get signed with a team before training camp. So knowing that, does that change like what you think about what the Bears might want to pay a guy like Connor Williams if he actually is fully healthy?
I would sign Connor Williams if he wasn't healthy for week one, two, three. Honestly, you guys know how I feel about the Bears trenches. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been called a naysayer, a Debbie Downer, a party pooper, whatever you want to say. I don't think they're a very strong unit. I think when they face strong defensive units, they're gonna get overwhelmed. I think Connor Williams is just another step in the right direction. You know what?
Mhm.
Brian Poles has taken so many chances on so many bargain signings at the on the offensive line. Why not actually take a chance on a guy who's proven he can play? And I know the injury is concerning. It always is when a guy's coming off an injury as substantial as that. But it's not like the Bears' offensive line's been entirely healthy for the last two seasons either. So I would I would I would honestly, if the money was more than people wanted to see, I would still probably make that signing. Yeah.
So here's where I have a problem, guys. Just the Bears have already, put in some effort this offseason and given up draft capital for Orion Bates, giving up a fifth round pick. They signed Shelton. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but they've addressed these needs. So it's not like I'm not against Connor Williams. We got Squeegee in the building. We got Ant Mass. What up, everybody? Bear
What's up,
down.
fellas?
Yeah, yeah.
Yo,
I'm not against Connor Williams. I'm in agreement with you, Brandon. If he's healthy, he's obviously an upgrade over anything we have. I just have a hard time seeing polls shelling out the money that a guy like Drew Rosenhaus is going to want to get for his client after he's already, you know, gone after Ryan Bates and Coleman Shelton in the offseason and given up draft capital to do so. What do you think of that, Darius?
um, I agree with you. But another thing, man, shout out to the good people in the chat. But another thing, you gotta love Drew Rosenhaus, man. He's the best in the business. He always tries to, he pushes for the max for his clients, man. You gotta love that. But as far as the Bears and the questions, I mean, I think it's just so many questions. Any answer will do to some people, to some fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Any step in that direction because so many unknown we have so many unknown commodities, as far as, the unit. Anything that looks like we're trying to address those answers is gonna be great for fans. You know what I mean? But in our realization, I believe they need to, don't rush to. I wouldn't rush to sign them. You know,
Especially not for big money, right? I
yeah,
mean, and again, Drew Rosenhaus is like you said, he's the best. He's gonna go for the big money, as much money as he can get for his client. He's coming off of a torn ACL. There's some I have some hesitance with getting fully behind that idea. Like I said, especially given what they've already done to try to address the position. Now,
mhm.
Brandon says they haven't done enough, and I think we all agree that that's the case. So if
Yeah.
you can get Connor Williams on a bargain deal, I'm all for it. It's just about where does that money come in? Where is his health actually at? And I mean, we got Scottish Bear here Cap saying the Bears are doing their due diligence on Connor Williams, and
As they
yeah,
should,
they better, right, right,
as they should,
yeah, yeah,
as they should.
yeah,
And
because
even
they
if
need
we
to show
sign,
us that they are.
if we sign Connor Williams tomorrow, right? I don't think we're going to get the best Connor Williams until next season.
Well, if we sign Connor Williams, I don't know if it's going to be a multi-year deal. It would
You don't
probably
think?
just be a 1 year deal. What,
You don't
Brent?
think?
No, I don't think so. Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think a guy coming off an ACL tear is somebody you want to give a long term deal to. Like I said, you guys, I'd more than love the signing if they did. I wouldn't love a long term deal. And I think Ryan Poles, as good as Drew Rosenhaus is, Ryan Poles is not throwing money at anybody. He just not desperate for any position. He's content with what he's got. He's told everybody in the NFL it's going to be hard to make this team, make this roster. I do
Mm-hmm.
think Drew Rosenhaus, Connor Williams tore that knee in December. It's really like the word miraculous is a little understated. I think if this guy's ready to go by the time training camp start, I mean, like, let's be real. I don't see that knee being fully healed, and it's not something I would imagine if the Bears signed him, they wouldn't rush him into getting on the field even for practice. I think they'd kind of nurse him into it, honestly. And I do think he's worth the 1 year deal to see if, see if the injury has affected his ability to play the game. But you're right, Dustin, it's at the right price. They did spend a lot of money on not a lot, but they spent some money on the offensive line this offseason. So I'm sure Ryan Poles feels content with or without Connor Williams with what he's got. I don't like the idea that they're already talking about. I mean, we're already talking about moving guys here. This
Mm-hmm.
this competition for center was supposed to be between Coleman Shelton and Ryan Bates. Now you're talking about Ryan Bates is going to compete with Nate Davis for the right guard spot, which makes Coleman Shelton the solidified center, and you brought him in to compete. So are the Bears already
I
kind
don't
of?
know, man. I think Ryan Bates is. From everything I've heard and from everything that I can put together, Brian Bates is going to get the starting center shot to begin. They're going to move around these guys in training camp and throughout these mandatory mini camps to try to see what good combinations can be and where they can use
Mm-hmm.
guys. But from everything I know, Ryan Bates is going to get that starting shot at center unless Nate Davis just decides not to show up for the first game.
Well, I
you
think
know,
I think Nate Davis's performance is going to be heavily evaluated as well. I don't think it's just going to be his attendance. I mean, what I read from Brad Biggs, it was funny. Brad Biggs actually released a report stating the right guard is there's no competition at the right guard whatsoever. The Bears are stern on the guy they've paid. He got a lot of money. They think
Mm.
they think he had some personal issues off the field. Literally, like 30 days to the day later, Brad Biggs is like, I think you're going to see Ryan Bates competing for Nate Davis's job during this offseason. So it's like he's obviously seeing something when he's there, and in the Bears facility. I think the Bears are really upset with Nate Davis. I really do. I know he had the issues last year, and I think they were very patient with him. But this year, not so
Hmm.
much. I mean,
Well,
how much time and patience can you give a guy?
Right.
well, what? Let's say this. Say the money's right, the health concerns are alleviated through whatever due diligence the Bears do, and they go for it and they sign him. Darius, do you start him at center right away? Who are you pushing out of that starting lineup right now? How would you configure that if you add Connor Williams to this offensive line?
Okay. Adding Connor Williams to the offensive line, first of all, he's going to start off on the pup list, right? So,
Potentially. I mean, Brandon makes a good point. Like I said, Drew Rosenhaus is going to say what he needs to say to get his
right.
guy paid. They're going to
That's
have to
what I'm
back it
saying.
up, though. They're going to have to back that up, though,
That's what I'm
in order
saying.
to get him
Like,
paid.
he
So,
hurt it in December, right?
yeah,
Okay. From my experience, what I've seen with injuries like this, he's going to start off on the pup list. So he might not get no real action. So we may not even see. All we're doing, we're basing, him coming to our team based off his past work, the last 2 years or whatever with Miami. Okay. Now,
really good with
bring him
Dallas, too.
in. Yeah, he was in Dallas too, but I don't think Dallas they weren't huge fans of him.
He had a really good last year. That last year with Dallas when he was
Yeah,
forced into the starting lineup for sure.
yeah, but bringing him in is gonna create competition. I'm not ready to slice. No, I'm not ready to get rid of anybody based off of past work. You know what I mean? I'm a what have you done for me lately type of guy. So I feel like the odd man out during the competition is the one that we have to let go. We can say, well, for Bates, if it's Bates, we gave up draft capital, whatever. But if he's not, if he can't find a spot on his team and he didn't win the starting job, what can we do?
We got Squeegee here saying Pohl said Bates was brought in as interior lined up. Shelton is the starter. He has way more experience at center than Bates. No, I don't know that any of that's confirmed, Squeegee. I mean, I've heard a lot of people inside saying that they expect Bates to get that starting spot at center. Now, does it change through competition? Potentially.
It has
Obviously,
to.
there's that.
It,
Yeah.
it has
Well,
to.
it has to if depending on whoever performs. Obviously,
Right.
right.
You know.
But I mean, Shelton, guys, Shelton has experience, but he's
Hmm.
also allowed the most hurries in the NFL last year. So these are things we got to consider when we're talking about projecting these guys out. And like you say, Darius, competition, that's what's going to lead us to hopefully our best starting five. And
Right.
hopefully it's a healthy starting five.
And that's another reason why I wouldn't be in a real rush to sign him. I want to see what we have. You know, I want to see what we have to see if we really need to spend the money in that direction. You know,
Yeah.
hey, I believe in giving guys a chance, man. Giving guys that we have already in the building, give them a shot to compete.
All right.
And even still, like I said, we signed Connor Williams. Like, that's why I say not a 4 or 5 year deal, but at least a 2 year deal because the first year we're not going to be able to see what we need to see from him to really make a real decision.
I think he'll be hard pressed to get a multi-year deal more than a 1 year prove it deal. I think he's going to try to get as much guaranteed money and money out
Yeah.
of that
But see,
1 year as
that's the
possible.
thing. The
Yeah,
money is the thing.
yeah.
You
So I
know,
mean, from my perspective, I don't know that I would want the Bears to even make this move. I'll just say that. What do you think, Brandon? Would you said you think you would support this move even if it was a high paying dollar amount?
I think you got to do whatever you can. The offensive line this year is more important than it's ever been to me because you got a rookie quarterback and his health's what's most important to the Bears. So I think you got to, if there's an improvement anywhere on that line, I mean, if you feel you can get better somewhere, you absolutely have to do it. In regards to what Squeegee said, general managers don't often speak to who a starting player on a roster is. I don't, that's not a very
Yeah, no,
common
I
thing.
don't know that that was ever said out loud
Yeah, I don't,
in that
I,
specific of terms. No,
and I don't think
but
a general manager would state that one guy's here for depth and not to start. That wouldn't that wouldn't incentivize competition in the
especially not if you
offseason.
traded a fifth round pick to get him.
You want you want
Yeah, that's
you want
politics,
Bates.
man.
You would
That's
want your
politics.
you want your players to think they have the ability to start. So you don't want to be telling a guy like you're here for depth. That's not. So, and again, coaches speak to those things. Ryan Poles probably wouldn't even tell you who his starting quarterback is if he was asked. But I I do think that if they believe the Bears are inside, we're not, guys. If they believe Bates or Shelton is a quality starter, then they're not going to spend the money. That's what I think, and I do think that if Williams comes in, like we said, they're going to do their due diligence. I don't know, Darius. You said he'll possibly be on the PUP. The first thing they're going to do with Connor Williams is a physical and medicals, right? So they're going to know where he's at and how much truth Drew Rosenhaus is speaking. But
Well, yeah,
if the Bears feel that Connor Williams improves their line with the rookie quarterback, it's almost a must. I feel like.
yeah, very solid points. Very solid points. I think that if you can upgrade it, you should. I think that there's got to be a price limit that you kind of go to, and obviously, like Scottish Bear says here, echoing what you were saying, Brandon, Poles won't make that move until full medical and that injury is checked out. And like we've been saying, it could just be agent fluff. It most certainly is. And again, it's all speculation. If he's at his best and he's 100% healthy, obviously I'll do whatever I can to get that guy to be my starting center over our options right now. I just don't know that we have any of that. There's nothing concrete to go off in
Yes.
regards to that.
Yeah, and then you got to think too. What I've been reading is, sorry to cut you off, man. What I've been reading is Williams also basically has a choice of what team he wants to play for. I mean, obviously, money will be the incentive, but if Williams feels like one place is better than another, he might not even choose Chicago to play because I'm hearing there's a lot of teams that are highly interested in him.
Well,
So
that's more of the magic of Drew Rosenhaus potentially too.
Yes,
yeah,
I think
you
I
know,
agree with that.
um, but just in regards to the Bears, guys, we know we want some more solid answers, more concrete answers at the offensive line. I think when we're looking at our offense, that's our biggest question mark. That's why when the speculation comes about, it's so interesting to talk about because you want to protect this rookie quarterback.
can I ask you a question, Dustin?
What's that?
Do you how much do you think the ability to, because the center does a lot more than just block guys and hand the
Yeah.
ball off. How much do you think the ability to read pressure from a defense, because Caleb's young, he's inexperienced in the NFL, he's going to struggle with that. Everybody does, even the best. How much do you think that'll play over the ability to block? Because if Coleman Shelton is if Coleman Shelton's got the brain, but he doesn't have the ability to block as well as Bates, is he the guy that gets the job?
Well, the brain helps you block, right? Like
Yeah.
the brain, if you're recognizing the pressure coming, then you're calling that out to the rest of your offensive line, and you're setting up your offensive line to attack that pressure, and then you're able to get a step in the right direction to get the leverage to be able to block. I mean, they go hand in hand. I honestly, I mean, you can't sacrifice the ability to physically move someone.
Mhm.
I don't think that that's something we can sacrifice in our center, but
Because you
you
got
want
to
to have
think
a good mixture of both, right, Darius?
Shelton's got to be.
Absolutely. But I'm sorry I cut you off, Rand. But
No, you're good.
the center is the second most important position on the offense. Okay, to
On
answer
the
what?
offense or the offensive line?
What? Well, no, in the offense.
You're over left tackle, you think?
Yeah,
Oh
because
wow.
like the center is responsible for making those calls. You know, the center is responsible for getting that line together. Everyone knowing what they're supposed to do on a given play. You know what I mean? Now that
No
left
doubt.
tackle, he can be as great as he want to be, but if he don't know what the hell going on, then you know it ain't gonna go right. But I I don't know, man. The Connor Williams thing, I want to give the guys we have because I want to see what we have in the guys that we have already. I feel like we're not going to know anything of how well these guys can do A, B, or C until they get on the field, and that could be the whole preseason.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree with you. And we do have to see what we have. And I don't know how much more I want to talk about the Connor Williams thing because it's all just speculation, you
Yeah,
guys. Like we're talking about, it could be a pipe dream, like Brandon said. There could be multiple suitors. Like we're all saying, there's the injuries. There's so many question marks with this. I think Bears fans are latching onto it because we do have these question marks. But
yeah,
like you're saying, Darius, maybe those questions will be answered in training camp with a competition between these guys that we already have.
yeah.
And then
We got.
you're not putting yourself at risk giving guaranteed money to a guy that's
Mhm.
potentially not even going to be healthy for you for the year you have him.
Won't even be ready. We got to see what we have, man. I love our fans, man, but sometimes when you put stuff like this in the air and it don't go right, then you know they're gonna be ready to attack Poles and Cunningham, man, and say that what they didn't do. You know what I mean? You know, you putting this stuff out here in the atmosphere for these people to eat up, and if
Yeah, and
it
also
don't,
to show like, hey, we looked into it. We we,
hmm
we explored all options. We looked under every rock. They have to do that, and
yeah.
just to for their reputation, the jobs that they do. Brandon, you were gonna say something?
Oh, I was going to say in regards to why I asked that question, like in regards to reading a defense, like let's say Connor Williams, let's just say speculatively he signed and he doesn't look his healthiest, but he's better at the other two. I don't think Ryan Bates has the ability to read pressure because he's never been a center, and I would imagine that's probably part of the reason why. But let's say Shelton isn't as strong as Connor Williams is in that aspect of the game, and Connor Williams is nursing an injury still. Is he a better option?
I
Because
I don't know.
he's
I
done a
don't know
good
the answer to that question,
he's done a
honestly.
good job at that. I know that for sure. Connor Williams, his reputation speaks for itself. He's
Yeah.
been a good blocker, even like
hmm
obviously prior to the injury, but he's also done a good job at just anchoring an offensive line pre-snap.
Yeah.
Well,
And based off of PFF, he's like an 85 or 86. So you know, if we want to base it off that, hell yeah, bring him in. But he's coming off an injury, man, and not just a sprained ankle, or or a pulled hamstring. Like he got a major deal going, as far as that injury and his rehab. So, it's unknowns with him too. All we know is about, what I'm saying, what people say or what we've seen in the past. We don't know about the right now. It's just so many questions about about the O line that, it's just so many unknowns. You know, we gotta align ourselves with, what we can do to solve them. But a lot of it's gonna have to be figured out on the field.
yeah, and Squeegee says hopefully Poles will pull off another 1 year, prove it special. I mean, again, at the right price, we'll go for it. That's the way I look at it. You got to be safe with that. You got to make sure you do your due diligence. And then Cheryl says Cubs Giants getting ready to start. They're honoring Willie Mays. I know we got Game 7 of the Stanley Cup. Can you guys believe that we got a Game 7 of the Stanley Cup after 3-0 lead?
How does Edmonton lose now, man?
I don't by not scoring as many goals as the Panthers.
They got
But
the
we'll see.
Panthers. They got the Panthers on their heels, man.
Yeah, I mean I'm definitely excited to see what happens with that. I do want to shout out to Bridges Scoreboard. They host a lot of our events. They're great people over there. Great food, great beer. If you're in Griffith, Indiana, oh, we got 2-1 Florida is up on in this. Thank you, Aunt Mass. Appreciate that. We got Squeegee asking, is that a Fridge jersey?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, if you need a jersey, you can go to TC's World of Wonders. Check them out. Great jerseys, great
Nice.
prices. we got we got all kinds of great sponsors, guys. Make sure you're hitting up Serendipity Ice Cream if you want a sundae. Those tracks be posting those pictures. They look so good. I haven't gotten in there, but definitely want to get in there and check. I love ice cream, man. I can't. I
That's
gotta stay away
80,
from it.
80 to 90 degrees, guys. After your dinner at Bridges, go get some ice cream at Serendipity. Now's the time.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Squeegee says, "Cool, my hero." Darius repping the fridge.
Yes, sir. I'm a man of the trenches, man. I got a lot of love for the guys that battle in the trenches on both sides of the ball.
So we've talked a lot of trenches, guys. I think we could talk about that all day because I think it's a consensus. It's our biggest concern as Bears fans for this offense. I have another concern though, and I wonder if you guys share in this concern. We're so excited about Caleb Williams. We've never felt I've never felt this way as a Bears fan when a quarterback was drafted. I didn't feel this way with Fields. I was pissed off when they drafted Mitch Trubisky. I mean when they drafted Rex Grossman, it was kind of blah, uh, all the way back to McCown. Hated that, and I was like, what, 10 years old, 11 years old, and I hated it at the time. So we have all these expectations. I'm going to ask you, Brandon, are we putting too much on ourselves to set ourselves up to be disappointed? Are our expectations too high for how much immediate success we expect to see Caleb Williams have, given what we're talking about, this offensive line having question marks there, and that being a very important part of his success? Are our expectations too high?
Well, I hope that Bears fans out there understand the expectations shouldn't be on Caleb Williams alone. I mean, you expect the guy you drafted first overall to, well, first off, he's going to struggle. He's a rookie, but you expect him to play well because, he's obviously one of the most, I don't know,
Highly
prominent
touted.
prospects I've ever seen in my life in any sport, honestly. But the expectations should be around the Bears team in general, not Caleb Williams, because they've spent, like you said, Dustin, they spent more money than they ever have on the offensive side of the football. The defense finished last year and over the last 6 weeks as the number one unit in the league. So the expectation, for me, the expectation is that Caleb Williams struggles, but the Bears win anyways because they're loaded with talent. That's something like we can all say Ryan Poles did his job this offseason, guys. He put together a team that'll allow Caleb Williams to succeed without, and this is the thing that we haven't really seen too much of, especially if you look at the last few years with Justin Fields. The pressure doesn't need to be on Caleb Williams. We don't need to see this guy. He doesn't have to be the USC quarterback. He doesn't have to be a hero. He's got to play within the system. And we're all kind of skeptical as well. Well, not skeptical. We're all kind of wondering what Shane Waldron's going to bring to the Bears. That's probably my biggest question mark is Waldron over anything. But can Caleb Williams just play within a system? He's going to have to make throws, but he's not going to have to be the Caleb Williams he's been his whole life. And I guess the most pressure on Caleb Williams is going to be, does he have the ability to do that? And some guys it's hard for, and you'd think that's easy. It's an easy transition to have to do less. But Caleb Williams is obviously a player who's very confident in himself. Can he embrace the fact that he just needs to run this offense within a system? He doesn't need to be a hero. And for any Bears fan that's expectations or wants to apply pressure for Caleb to be the greatest Bears quarterback and all of time, that's fine, but not this year.
Well, he's seen what it looks like when he has to be the hero. Last year, he saw that at USC.
Yeah.
That did not work out too well for him or anybody else on that team. So hopefully, that's not a lesson that he has trouble learning, or even has to learn for that matter. What you just said about Waldron, I totally disagree with. I mean, I don't know that anybody. I'm not. It's not a concern of mine. I think
I
Waldron's
just
going to
don't know
put
anything
together
about. I don't know anything, but I dn't watch too much Seattle football. I know he comes from a good tree. I just don't know
a
anything about.
legitimate offensive coordinator who's going to adapt to his players. So I think that's going to be that's going to be something that really accentuates the strengths of Caleb Williams in that regard. I mean, regardless of what we want it to be, it is, the expectations are on Caleb Williams as much as more than any other player on this team because of the pedigree, because of how highly touted he is being drafted. Those expectations are going to be there, and it's a fair point that it's going to be a team effort. It always is, and it needs to be for you to be a successful winning team. It needs to be everybody doing it all together.
And I can say this. I think Caleb has that expectation of himself, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's nobody who expects more of Caleb Williams than Caleb Williams. I didn't feel that way about Trubisky and Justin Fields. I absolutely didn't. I'm not disrespecting those guys in any way, but Justin Field looked like a deer in headlights most times when they tried to play him from the pocket. I don't think these guys expected themselves to be great, and I think Caleb Williams expects that of himself.
Hey, the truth can never be considered as disrespect, brother. Don't ever forget that, all right? So don't worry about disrespecting those guys. It's the truth. The truth is what the truth is. You know what I mean? I know I jumped in real quick, but
No, you're good.
I
Are the
think
expectations too high for Caleb Williams in your mind, Darius?
it like some of them are coming from the fan base, some of them are, but so what, right? He like the most important thing this whole offseason is that we got that position correct. We got the quarterback position correct. Physically, mentally, we got the position correct. You know what I mean? We just got to get it. We got to develop the chemistry and the continuity on the field. And getting this position right can cover up a lot of holes. Like we're having this discussion about should we bring Connor Williams in or not. But I do think, having a good quarterback can hide some deficiencies up front. You
Yeah,
know,
I agree with that.
as far as the expectations, a lot of people expecting to throw for 4,000-5,000 yards. I think that's a little crazy, because great, like, becoming an all-time great has nothing to do with your first year as a starter. You know what I mean? Your rookie season. You would like this rookie season to go pretty smooth. And like Brandon said, it's going to be struggles, but just don't be consistently struggling. You know what I mean? He's a
Learn
smart
from.
guy. He's been preparing himself for this limelight and for this stardom pretty much his whole football life. So
Yep.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about how he feels about the pressures and anything like that because I think he has all that under control. Like the other guys, the other guys were shaking in their boots when they had to step up to that podium and, explain themselves, even during training camp, doing a lot of stuttering after games and all that and looking around trying to find somebody to look at and communicate with, while talking to the media. This guy, he listens to the camera and he stands on business. You know what I mean? He stands on business. Like when he has a bad, like he had that bad day in OTAs or whatnot, it stood in like a man. He answered questions. He understood his assignment. It got better day after day. And that's what we need to see. You know, Regardless of what, the outside pressures are, I was always told preparation kills pressure. So as long as he's doing the proper preparation and he's handling, he's doing what he's doing it, he's doing what he has to do as far as his responsibilities to the team, I think he can overcome that part. But I think, getting on the field and developing chemistry with these guys in live action, that's going to tell us everything we need to know.
All right. Appreciate that, Darius. I agree, man. It's gonna take some time for him to get acclimated to the NFL, but he is ready for it, I think. Like you said, he's been preparing himself for it. I don't think that, again, like Brandon said, the expectations aren't too high for him. I think that some of the expectations from us can be a little outsized for what you see rookie quarterbacks do in year one traditionally. It can be tough. So I
Yeah,
mean,
and I think
I
a
expect
foul.
him. Hold on. I expect him to do really well, but maybe it takes a little bit of time mid-season where he starts to pick it up. And just before we jump in, Brandon, we got Trax in the building. Says hi. He says hi to everyone. Hi,
What's up,
Darius.
Trax?
What's up,
Hi,
Trax? What's
Brandon.
good, man?
Hi, Trax. We got Squeegee in the building. Ant Mass, CTS Diva. Thank you all for being here. We had Scottish Bear in here earlier. I saw he was participating. Some dude who keeps talking about Detroit, who I don't want to acknowledge. There's Scottish Bear. Don Burr has 100. Yeah, he's talking about the dude from Detroit. Don Burr has a. I'm not going to read that.
Yeah. Hey, you know what, man? To piggyback off of what Brandon said, the whole team has to feel this pressure. Because last year, especially the defense set a standard of what, what I'm saying, of what we should be looking forward to this upcoming season. So it's not just the offensive side of the ball, it's the whole team. Really all three phases. They brought people in to improve the special team play. They should feel it too. Everybody should feel the same pressure. It's just, our leader is Caleb.
Yep,
He's the
yep, yep.
quarterback. You know.
And as he goes, we're gonna go, and that's the way it needs to be. That I've not seen teams be successful for a consistent period of time without that being the case.
Now shoot, look at our last 25 years. It's been so many ups and downs, because we haven't gotten that position correct.
Yep, and now hopefully we do. But again, my whole thing was more like, because we've been so starved for getting that position correct,
Mm-hmm.
are we putting too much too many eggs in that basket too quickly, Brandon?
Yeah, and I think a lot of the expectations are because of two things. One, Caleb's being drafted. He was drafted first overall to a team that had 7 wins. So the expectations are a lot higher than your typical first overall pick in the draft. And then second, he was drafted a year after one of the greatest rookie quarterback performances we've ever watched. I mean, CJ Stroud kind of just I don't know, reinvented the bar, right? I mean, people are going to expect, which we've seen it, I mean, a handful of times in our lives, guys, but people are going to now make this the standard because the Texans were a terrible team. They were, I think, they were the worst record besides the
Mhm.
Bears the year
Yeah.
prior. So it's like people are going to compare Caleb Williams to CJ Stroud all season long. I'm sure you're going to hear it, but and Justin Fields as well, his rookie season. But I have no doubt that if there was a player in this draft who can live up to expectations in a high pressure situation, it's somebody like Caleb who's as confident as he is.
For sure. We got Squeegee in here, afraid of man hugs. We're not afraid of man hugs. The CSP tracks love us all. I mean, if you're afraid of a man hug, then we don't want you in here, okay? Real man hug.
If you're afraid of a man hug, there's probably something you got to tell somebody.
What we were talking earlier, Brandon. I'm watching 1883, and Tim McGraw is so damn handsome, dude. Oh my god, like I can't stop myself. It's insane, like how good looking this dude is.
And he
But
can
I'm secure
sing.
enough in my sexuality to say that.
And he can sing.
And he can act. He can act his ass off.
Oh, he does a good job.
Darius is like, what the fuck are y'all doing?
Hey, listen, man. Look, I've heard of Tim McGraw.
No,
I've
yeah,
heard of him.
no. Watch 1883, man. That's a hell of a show.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, on Paramount
I'll check it out.
Plus.
I'll
For
definitely
everybody
check
out
it
there,
out.
if you were looking for a show to watch, check out 1883.
I'll check it out.
Sam Elliott.
Again, smash that like button, guys. Subscribe, share this with your friends and family. Thank you for being here. Give us 5-star reviews if you like what you're seeing. If you don't, tell us what we can do better.
Okay, look. If Caleb throws for 3,500 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions, and we win 12 games, is that considered a success?
More,
Fuck yeah,
more than
hell yeah,
success, I think. Yeah,
Right.
that's an
that sounds
overachieving
So
amazing.
season.
I don't think we should align we shouldn't align our wheels up to CJ Stroud, but I agree with you, Brent. He did set a hell of a bar. You know what I mean? And he didn't even play all the games. I think he missed maybe 2 or 3 games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
CTS Diva says yes. We're tired of the rebuilding chatter. We're tired of it. We want
We
to.
should be.
I also
Yeah, we deserve better as Bears
We
fans, guys.
should be.
and
Shout out to CTS Diva.
me and Dustin have discussed this too. I'm tired of whenever somebody talks about Caleb Williams' expectations, all I hear is records.
Yeah.
Can he be the first Bears? Can he be the 30 touchdowns? Can he be the first guy who throws 4,000? You're like, it's irrelevant, honestly. It's like what you said, Darius. He's going to struggle.
Yeah.
And what we've watched time and time again from Bears quarterbacks is they struggle and then they fall deeper into struggle. And I want to see a guy who struggles because he's going to, and then learn from it and gets better the next day. That's what I want to see. And if Caleb Williams is a quarterback on a Bears playoff team, he's done enough. That should be our expectation.
And
That
see,
being
part.
said, he's gonna throw for 4,000 yards.
He's going to break all the records.
That's happening, guys. I'm betting on that. 4,000
But
yards.
to that struggle thing, right? A part of that struggle thing, like you said, they start off with a bad game and then they end up sinking deeper, deeper into that hole. But I think Caleb is a different cat, man. I just feel like,
He's got a short memory.
yeah, like mentally he
On to the
has
next
it.
one.
Mentally he has that part together. Hopefully, he stays healthy. That's the only thing I really worried about with him is health. But as far as the mental thing and the understanding of the position that he's in, I think he has all that together.
Well,
So
not only was the guy first over, has a player ever had more suffered through more adversity than Caleb Williams? I mean, the guy, if he painted his damn nails, he was called a this and a that. And he's a
yeah.
diva, and he's never gonna be. He's not a guy who can lead a team because he has a pink phone. I mean, like, I
Well,
don't know if
I
there's
mean,
ever been.
yeah. Well, Lamar Jackson dealt with a lot of BS coming out. Cam Newton He dealt with a lot of stuff through
Yeah,
college
yeah.
before he got into the
His dad
NFL.
didn't. His dad didn't help him any. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, like, there's guys that have dealt with stuff, maybe not on as like high of a level because of social media. The impact of social media just continues to grow. But Caleb Williams has been through a lot already before he's even taken a real pro snap. So, and the other thing that we're not really talking about, guys, is Caleb Williams got a real good head start on this playbook. His
Mhm.
quarterback, the guy who's training him, got all the concepts from the Bears pretty early on before he was even drafted. He's familiar with the terminology already. He's familiar with all the stuff with that playbook in terms of the formations and all that already. And that head start is huge because like you were talking about earlier with the center position, the mental game versus the physical part of it.
Mhm.
You know, I think if a quarterback has really big balls, a really good brain, and really um, just some charisma, I think they can be just okay physically and get a lot of wins in the NFL. I think
Yeah.
Tom Brady proved that, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, but Caleb has the brains and he has the balls, and he's already got a head start on this playbook and the terminology within this offense, and he's got awesome physical capabilities. So yeah, it's hard not to get high on the thought of him throwing to three potential number one wide receivers, guys.
Yeah.
But I don't want to undersell it too much either. We want to pump the brakes on some of these expectations, but at the same time, once you start daydreaming about everything that comes with what we're going to see from this Bears offense, especially
Mhm.
considering we don't know what offense is in Chicago,
Yeah.
it's hard not to get excited, right?
Well,
And
wasn't it Kerry Joseph that said it was a couple weeks ago? He was quoted saying like I told Caleb Williams to stop texting me at 10 o'clock p.m. because he's like, why is this guy running this route on this play? Like the guy is just he's obsessed
Okay,
with
someone
football.
fire Kerry
yeah.
Joseph right now if he's actually telling them to stop.
Well, he was saying like his persistence is almost irritating. Honestly, that's how
Yeah.
much the guy wants to know about the game of football and the Bears team. But
And-
then there's the Courtney Cronin article that you wrote that you sent to me, Dustin, which was great.
Oh
Where
yeah,
I
well,
don't know if she wrote the article, but she was quoted a lot in it, where she was saying like the Bears are making him throw those
telling
sidearms
them to take the
from every
chances.
angle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
take the
yeah,
chances now so you can figure out what windows you can fit it into,
yeah. And
what
can and
angles you can
do your
throw
feet
from,
do your feet line up with your release, which was
or do
pretty
they
cool.
even need to? Like
Yeah.
they're just telling him to let it go. So I mean, when you talked earlier, Darius, about the OTAs and the bad days he
mhm.
had. The
Yeah.
Bears are encouraging him to have those bad days so he
Right.
can learn now what chances you can take and what chances you shouldn't take. You know.
Hmm. And you know what, man? Shout out to the organization because it was so much crap saying that we're a terrible organization, this, that, and the third, coming from the outsiders, talking about, how we not this and how we not that. Shout out to the organization for being, getting ahead of the game by getting him prepared early. You know what I'm
Oh yeah,
saying?
they're doing it right.
Well,
Yeah,
and
you're
by
doing like this should show everyone that this is, what I'm saying, those guys up top are doing this thing the right way.
the minute
Now the
the
past
minute
regime, it was just so much miscommunication with those guys, in the past regime.
And a lack of
But
a plan,
yeah,
Darius.
the
Just
yeah,
a
minute they
lack of a plan.
but I just wanted to say that I wanted to shout out to the organization, man, for being ahead of this thing and getting out in front of it and making sure your investment is um prepared to go to battle, because that also gives him a chance to be better, you know.
And be
Yeah,
confident that he's being put in the right situation, which when you're already an uber confident person, that confidence that you feel from the organization, imagine what that does versus feeling like you're being hung out to dry. Like if you're at work, Darius, and your manager ain't putting you in positions to succeed, or your boss,
yeah,
what do you feel? You feel anger, you feel
yeah,
resentment. A quarterback in the NFL ain't no different. Like Justin Fields probably had to be pissed off most days dealing with Luke Getsy, I would imagine. But
yeah.
Caleb Williams, the opposite is happening, where he feels the utmost confidence in this organization, guaranteed from what this process has been from everything I've read, Brandon.
Yeah, that's the power of preparation, though. That's the
yeah,
power of preparation, man. Like, if you're prepared, you're one step ahead of everyone else.
yeah, and it feels like this is the first time the organization had balls, right? I mean, from the minute From the minute they traded Justin Fields, I thought to myself, this is different. Ryan Poles is different. This is not the same old Bears because we knew. I mean, most of us knew who they were going to draft the minute Fields was out the door. They went and signed or traded for Keenan Allen, which they obviously knew that the Chargers were in cap trouble, so they moved swift, they moved quickly, they made that move, and then they drafted another receiver in the top 10. So I mean, the organization itself is growing some balls. They're taking risks to make sure that the quarterback, like Dustin said, the quarterback that they're drafting has a plan around him to succeed. Which is as a Bears fan, I don't know that I've ever seen anything like it. To be honest, Ryan Poles is different. He's trying to shake this whole run first defensive hit you in the mouth. It's not like that anymore. It's not the modern NFL, and Ryan Poles knows that, and he might be the first guy in this Bears organization who's understanding of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that we can say for sure is that this Bears team is doing what they're supposed to do and finding an identity, identifying the types of players they want at certain positions, and having that template to where then you can fit guys into it, and you know better what to be looking for in terms of a skill set from a center or in terms of a skill set from a
From a
cornerback.
from
You
a
know,
40-year-old tight end.
or whatever those things are, because they have a very specific idea of what they want at these positions and the identity they want this team to have. And I mean, that's a trait of winning organizations, guys. It is. I
True,
I
true.
would love to talk about this all day, but I really want to talk some Bulls, guys. And before we do that, just want to shout out River Street Tavern. Um, and they got specials every day. You know, what is it today?
Two
Tuesday.
dollar $2 burgers on
$2
Wednesdays.
burgers Wednesday.
Half
Half off
half price
tacos.
wings on Sundays.
Yep, yep. A lot of good specials there. Great staff, great service. Guys, go check them out. Kyle will be there, and he'll make you a nice cocktail. And I want to shout out everybody in the chat again. Squeegee saying, I think if Caleb focuses on doing his job, all the records and wins will follow, especially with the weapons he has. Well said. I think I agree with that. Taking the organization 100 years, thanks to polls. Yeah, it's like we've evolved
Better
an
late than
awful
never,
lot of
baby.
years. Yep.
Better late than never.
No, no doubt, no doubt. We deserve to see a team in the modern era of football doing, doing what winning teams do. I think Chicago deserves that. And then,
Mm-hmm.
and in regards to that, we
Yeah,
have a basketball
segue.
team that's we have a basketball team that's kind of, stuck in purgatory. And they made a trade the other day. And I know you guys talked about it. I watched you guys' show last week, Darius, and you guys did a great job covering it. But I really just wanted to address it because I've not seen a trade get slammed so hard so quickly,
I
and
know.
and it comes from a place of, I understand where it comes from because it's hard to trust this Bulls organization right now. They've made a
True.
lot of questionable moves. They've ignored the actual state of their franchise for 2 years now in terms of moves they haven't made. It's it's hard to trust them. But I'll
True.
say this flat out, guys. And I told you this the day of the trade, Brandon. The Bulls won this trade.
Heck
The Bulls
yeah.
won this trade. They got a 20-year-old that's about to be 22 that can damn near average a triple double in the right circumstance, that has a lot of potential. I mean, you can talk about his 3-point shooting, but he's young. He's gonna get better. He's got time to work. I mean, you traded Alex Caruso. I love Alex Caruso. I really did. He was my favorite Bull to root for, man. But he's in his 30s. He was on an expiring deal, and he's not a part of the Bulls' future. And I look at Giddey, and I see a guy who's probably better than anybody that's going to be drafted in the top 10 of this upcoming draft. We wanted draft picks for Caruso, apparently, but you got a guy that equals a top 10 draft pick that I think is better than any of the options in this draft, that can, be a focal point of a potential rebuild here. Maybe this is signifying something. We're going to see some other moves coming, like getting rid of some of more of these veterans in favor of some youth. I just want to say, I think they won that trade. What do you think, Darius?
I agree with you 1,000%. Giddy is a very good young player, and he's a starter, right? We traded a role player away for a starter.
An all defensive role player, but
Yeah, but in our circumstance, Like, how much better does Caruso make us? I truly, we're a play-in team without him, if you ask me.
There's a lot of plays that he again. I don't want to undersell Caruso's
No, no,
value,
no, no, no. But
right?
what I'm
And
saying,
there's a lot of plays he made that
right,
were winning plays for this team. You know,
true enough. But can we really feel the effects of the winning plays he make? Like, does it
no,
really?
because yeah, the Thunder
That's
are
what I'm
closer to
saying.
winning. He's gonna
That's what
be
I'm
a much
saying.
more valuable piece to them. Yes, I
Right,
agree with that.
right. I think he's much valuable to a team like OKC,
A
the
contender.
Dallases, the Bostons, even the Lakers. If he went back there, I think he'll be better suited in a situation such as that than with the Bulls. Because we don't have the players or the necessary tools to compete in the top five of this conference, let alone top five of the league.
Maybe he'll be
You
the
know what I mean?
Lakers' next coach.
Squeegee says, "Have a good night, y'all." Once we start talking Bulls, come on.
Oh yeah, that doesn't get everybody excited, man. Trust me, trust me. I feel the same way about what they call him, the show, Karnashovich. Karnashovich,
Carnosaurus.
yeah,
Yeah.
his nickname is the show.
Arturus, yeah.
Oh,
Arturis
Arturis.
Karnashovich, right?
Okay.
Him and Mark Eversley, they haven't done it. They haven't won my vote for them to come back. You know what I mean?
No, there's
But
no
they
trust.
can right the wrongs though. It's not, it's a shit show now, but they can recover from this if they do this thing the right way.
And it's possible that this move was the precursor for all of that to
Mhm.
happen, which should give some excitement to Bulls fans. I mean, I don't think we should be panning it so hard, Brandon.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think the Bulls scare the crap out of me, man. I agree that trade needed to be made because you're right. Alex Cruz is
Thanks,
not a party.
Squeegee. Thank you for being here. I was just giving you shit. Have a good one. Good luck with your stuff tomorrow. Sorry, bro.
Caruso's not a part of your future at all. I agree with
Exactly,
that.
right?
And my cons- I need to see more. I have to because I have this gut feeling that they believe like because it's pretty clear that Lonzo Ball is not going to play another day for this organization. They made that pretty clear. I think it was 2 days ago. Um, I'm hoping that they don't think Giddy is like the Lonzo Ball that's going to tie it all back together with the same pieces because that cannot be the outlook this Bulls front office is having right now. If they think, oh, we just need that floor general that's going to make Vooch and DeRozan and Patrick Williams all of a sudden work, that's what scares the crap. So like, I need to see more. I want to see Levine next. I want to see Pat Williams. I wouldn't mind seeing Vooch. You got to build this thing from the ground up. And
Yeah.
if Giddy, and another concern I have is Giddy played his best basketball when Alexander wasn't on the court.
Because he had the ball in his hands. He's a
Right.
guy
And
who needs the ball in his hands for sure.
he's not going to do that with the pieces the Bulls have. So if you want to get the best out of Giddy, I think Levine and DeRozan are pieces that probably won't help his development. So hopefully you're right, Dustin. This is the first domino. I'm just praying that this is the first domino. And you're right. It's a sign that says the Bulls clearly understand youth is what's most important at this juncture. They have players like Kobe White who are still young on good contracts. They do have things they can build around. They're obviously in dire need for centerpiece, but it starts with just getting rid of the guys who other teams deem as quality players, especially like Darius said. Alex Caruso is a winning piece for a team that's contending. That Thunder team just got a crap load better. So I would agree with you, man. We won the trade in regards to what's best for the Bulls, but I think they won the trade in regard to what's best for them. It was a very mutually beneficial trade because the Thunder are a much better team with Alex Caruso than with Josh Giddey.
Yeah, but my point was like that. I'm seeing people giving the Bulls D grades and the Thunder A plus plus plus
How
plus.
can you?
Like
Yeah,
these are like reputable sources.
the
And
Bulls haven't traded a person since August 2021. How can you give this trade a bad grade? They traded somebody, right? Any
well,
trade
because
they
of what you
made
were
to
just
me.
saying, the fit of Giddy with next to a DeRozan, next to a Levine, it's still questionable in terms of
Yeah, I think
still suffering on defense. You still have three people who need the ball in their hands, playing next to each other. So fit wise, like we're saying, if this is moving in a direction where they ship out of
breaking it
or
down.
whatever,
Yeah.
they're not going to get a lot for these guys.
Yeah.
I don't know that it makes sense to try to everyone wants Levine to go, but why not let him try to get his value up a little bit before we move him? Right now, his value is at an all-time low. It's the lowest it's ever going to be. We need him to improve that value a little bit to actually try to get some kind of return for him. We're
There's
going to be trading him for cents on the dollar.
yeah, there's so many things going against Zach Levine right now. Not because people talk about the injury, which is obviously tremendous. I mean, he had a season-ending surgery,
Mhm.
and it's what really concerned me about Zach Levine wasn't so much like what really hurt his trade value to me is not so much the surgery because it's obviously something he needed to address to get. We could tell he wasn't fully healthy. I mean, I am a Zach Levine fan. I didn't think there
Yeah.
was a minute last year when he was healthy. My biggest concern for Levine trading Levine is not the max contract or the injury. It's the fact that when he wasn't before he was shut down for the season, he was kind of here for a little bit and then gone for a little bit and then here for and it was the games that Levine didn't play that the Bulls won. And that did not look good for Zach Levine. Anytime he wasn't on the court, the Bulls played their best basketball. And that
Yeah.
that was my biggest concern for his trade value before he even had the surgery is I'm watching it tank because when the guy played games, they couldn't win.
Well,
Yeah.
it's mental. It's mental for
Yeah.
Levine, I think.
And I think getting rid of Zach and whatever we get for him, it's an addition by subtraction type of thing. Shout out to Illinois Jones. He mentioned being in the middle every year. We have to get out of that thing of being in the middle because being in the middle is not gonna make us a better team down the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're
Um,
never going to get a good draft pick.
yeah,
you're never going to be
yeah. We're
competing.
never gonna get that franchise changing guy if
Mhm.
you stay in the middle.
Yeah.
If you and
And any
unless you
front office
decide to
would
give up.
understand. I don't know how this front office thinks that for 2 years they've thought if they make no change at all, something's gonna click. And I
Yeah.
don't like it was so obvious they're just the most stagnant team in sports right now. I mean, it's just they're not
Now I
they
will.
they can't move forward and they almost don't have they had the ability to move back, which would have eventually,
Mhm.
done what like
Paid
the team
dividends.
needed to break it all down and they had the pieces, the perfect pieces to do so, and they just washed it, man. I don't get it. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. So I'm with you, Darius. My trust in this organization and Acme is at its all time low.
That's the
Man.
stuff. Acme is the stuff the Wile E. Coyote always buys, and
Yeah.
it don't fucking work when he goes eats
And blows up in
cash
his face.
over, man. That's what I think of when I think of this Bulls front office, man.
Now
But
I will give them credit for giving the young guys a chance to play, really
well,
opening up really opening up the floor to see what you have in the guys that you drafted.
and
You know,
before
I,
that,
I
even re-signing Kobe and
yeah,
And
those
Io,
yeah.
yeah.
I
Two
give
good
them credit for
contracts.
that. I give
Even
them a lot of
Vooch.
credit for that.
The
Because
contracts aren't so bad. Vooch is on a good deal too. Vooch, Io, and Kobe actually have pretty solid deals.
yeah, but Vooch got to go, man.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I agree. I agree. But his deal is, I don't think you might actually get something back for Vooch because he's on a solid deal and he can help a team
Right.
win.
you might
But
Yeah.
get a second round
Dust,
pick for Vooch, man.
Mm.
I don't know.
Dustin's right. Levine is going to get you probably a player on expire like just dead cap, somebody you can get rid of that's going to help your books. That's really what Levine is at this juncture.
Yeah.
He has money.
Backpedaling to Giddy. Now, if the organization does what we fear they might try to do, like you said, feeling like Josh Giddy is the answer to the Alonzo Ball thing.
Ugh.
Now, what Josh Giddy can do is give us stability, but stability still gonna land our ass still in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
still
and I
gonna
mean,
be from 6 to 9, 6 to 10. The
if they
play
don't
in.
do anything, else, Darius,
Good
what is
time.
their starting lineup right now? Is it
Right.
it's Kobe, it's Josh Giddey, it's Levine and DeMar is like a stretch forward?
Yeah, like I seen.
Patrick Williams still plays, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
They play. I guess they'll bring. I guess they should bring Kobe off the bench, huh?
hell no. Hell no. Kobe,
No.
you bring Zach off the bench, right? Zach can be your 6-man fire
Nah, I
starter.
don't. But see, that's gonna cause issues. That's why Zach got to go.
Well,
You
that
know what I mean?
exactly. But with Zach, the biggest issue for him is knowing what actually the team needs from him for the team to win again.
Yeah.
Zach has all the physical abilities, guys. Like it when you watch Zach play and he's ready to get off, there ain't no stopping him. When he's
That's
catching
true.
those balls, when he's catching those passes and shooting those spot up threes, he's one of the better players in the league at that. But he
True.
wants to hold the ball and dribble and shoot, those step backs to look like Luka Doncic, but that's not him. Like he wants to be something that he's not. If Zach were to ever just fix that in his head, he
Mm.
could be a solid player for any number of teams that need a third scoring guy. You know, if he could just understand, like, okay, you're not the guy that's going to average 25 a game on a winning team. You're the guy
Right,
that's going to average 25 a game on a losing team. You can average
right.
18 a game on a winning team and just stand there and shoot that three and then drive to the basket when you have some.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah,
he could fit in on this Bulls team if he could figure that shit out.
yeah, but
I
see, what it's gonna take for him to figure it out, he's not gonna be willing to do. And like you said, he's incredible when he's shooting the three, scoring, slashing, dunking, and all that. But his points don't have a very big impact on the game. You know, it seemed like he's getting these points just to say, "Hey, look at the box score. I got my 25." You know what I mean?
So then what's wrong with a starting lineup of Kobe, Giddy, DeMar, Patrick, and Vooch, and you got Zach LaVine as your sixth man
No,
who's
no,
going to
no.
keep that
I'm
offense
finna tell you
flowing?
the problem. I'm finna tell you the problem. Zach Zach thinks that he's above that. So
Well,
that's the main reason
someone
why
needs
he
to
has
humble
trouble.
his
yeah,
ass.
Nah,
his attitude
you
got
know,
kind of
but
bad.
he can only be humble if he get around players that he feel like is better than him.
That's a
Can I ask
very
you guys?
solid point.
Can I
Yeah.
ask you guys a question?
Hold on. Let's
This
go.
might
I want to go back to bro. Darius just said something really, really interesting, and I really want to touch on that. What team then would you want to put him on to humble him into that role?
Uh, I like the Sacramento situation.
put him on Dallas.
What
Dallas
about
is
the
nice.
Lakers? I mean, that was talked about a lot. The Sixers,
Lucas
thinking of
Luca's not going to give
ways we
that
can
kind of
get the
ball.
most return for Zach Levine. Could he be a guy that the Sixers give up the 16th pick for in this draft?
But see, from what I understand in Philadelphia, they've already said no to Zach Levine.
Well, everybody says no until they can't get the other. If they can't get PG, then what else are they going to do? They're going to trade for Donovan Mitchell. Well, I don't think that's happening. Like everybody says that until they don't have other options. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
I think he's better off on the West Coast, man. You know, to me,
Yeah, the Lakers could be an interesting fit for him too. He would
Golden
have to
State,
find his role there.
Golden State.
I don't think him and Billy Donovan were getting along too much towards the end of his tenure last season. I really
Yeah,
don't. I think he
Stockton
was.
209 says, I'm a big Kings fan. Give us Zach for 14. Hey, we
oh
can make a
yes.
deal right now. You have Zach, give us the 14th pick.
Hey,
Yeah,
throw in Kevin
that would
Herter in there
benefit
too.
both teams. That
Throw
would
in Kevin
benefit both
Herter in
teams.
there.
Yeah,
Zach's a,
no, yeah.
Zach's a
Herter would
good
be a
player, but
solid little addition. What was it? Well, it was Barnes, Herter, and like a future first is what I've been seeing
yeah,
thrown
but
around.
Herter was a piece that was supposedly for a third team,
Mm,
not going to be a bull.
mm.
I've seen a few different of them, but like, I personally feel as a Bulls fan, the best thing to do is try to get Zach to rebuild some of the faith in him, get some goodwill towards himself, and actually maybe produce in a healthy beginning to the season. What I don't know that you gain anything trading him now versus giving yourself a little bit of time and waiting to see what comes around at the deadline. Honestly, I don't know that it's worth making the move tomorrow, to be honest.
But let me ask you a question. If we can get back to Levine, but do you guys believe this is a pipe dream of mine, and it's not something I'm speculating will occur? But do you think Josh Giddey could impact the development of Patrick Williams?
In a positive way.
That's what I mean. Do you think we could see Williams actually progress into possibly that aggressive small forward that he should be, as opposed to the timid power forward that he's not? You know what I mean? Like,
I would hope so, man. Like I'm very sour on Patrick Williams.
he's a big
Uh,
guy, man. He needs
yeah,
to. He needs to be. He's got to have a head like he can. He can drive the ball and he
he,
can shoot. We know he can shoot. His shooting percentage has improved every year. But
he's
I'm
not a very
tired of this.
confident player. I don't think. I don't think
No,
he's very confident.
not at all. And I
I
think
mean,
Giddy might help him with that. Might
Yeah.
help put him in a position to score, man, because he's not a guy who can score on his own. We figured that out.
And
Once
I
a
and
week, Patrick Williams does something where you're like, my God, this guy could be really good.
Yeah, I
Like once a
know.
week,
He
he
always
gets a
teases
putback
you.
dunk,
Yeah.
or he does that little turnaround mid-range jumper Kawhi style, and it just swishes net. And you're like, man, this guy's got something. And then he starts dropping the ball just for no reason and missing wide
Passing,
open threes.
passing the out of bounds. Yeah.
dropping his
Yeah,
head,
yeah,
dropping his
yeah.
head, and
Now, but like when we're talking about them going young, you need Patrick Williams to get the playing time.
Well, I'm
And I
wondering
don't see
if
him playing at the three with DeMar DeRozan on this team. So
well,
again,
I'm
it's
wondering
like
if
all these pieces don't
but see that's another
fit.
thing. Demar's in that line too of, hey man, go out here and find your team that you know what I'm saying that you feel like you can win with.
I
Like we
hope
got,
they
well,
do that for DeMar, honestly.
hey man,
well,
Get him
that's what
out here, do him that solid, man.
I
yeah,
was really asking. If you move Demar and you move Levine, can Patrick Williams with Josh Giddey and Kobe White, who's obviously going to stretch the floor, can Williams play that aggressive three role? Can he get to the hoop with the size that he is? Can he start to play a little more aggressively and be the guy that I think he's should have been drafted to be by any other team? Honestly, the Bulls were the only team that looked at that guy like power forward. It didn't
yeah,
make
Well,
sense.
my biggest fear is that we'll just the Bulls will write him off as not good, and then he'll go to the Charlotte
And
Hornets and
and
fucking kill
be a
everybody
stud.
because
yeah,
Yeah.
the Bulls don't know how to put people in those right positions and develop them properly. And they let that we're looking at Wendell Carter, providing solid minutes to a playoff team in Orlando, Laurie Markkinen in
mhm,
Utah. Like,
Most improved player
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
after the Bulls.
and Illinois Jones says it's time to tear it down, let the kids play, and see who can stick and start over. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%, guys.
Yes,
Just get as much trade value as you can, draft capital preferably for your veterans, and throw in Julian Phillips, and throw in
Yeah,
Dalen Terry, and let's just see what these guys can do. See
yeah.
if we have anybody on this team besides Kobe.
And
Honestly,
and another thing too, it goes back to that addition by subtraction thing. You get rid of Zach and DeMar, you're gonna get like there's about 40 extra shots. You can issue them out to whoever, but Pat can get about 12 or 14 of those shots a night. You know what I mean?
yeah, Patrick Williams would have
Compared to
opportunity,
the
100%.
six compared to the 6 or 8 that he's getting now. And see, a lot of his timidness comes from the fact that he's
deferring.
playing with these other guys that he respect and he don't
Yeah,
want to step on their toes. You know what I mean?
100%.
And
Yeah.
he's probably being told to. He's probably being told to get the ball to those guys,
No, I
man.
don't know about. I mean, he's
Like
being told to
Demar,
be aggressive,
Demar has
but he
really
just
taken
naturally
him under his
defers.
wing.
Yeah.
Like Demar has really taken him under his wing. Like he works out
Dem-
with Demar in the summer and things
DeMar
of that
was
nature.
yelling at him one game
To
to be
shoot.
more aggressive.
Yes.
Like,
As
stop
he,
doing
yeah,
what you're doing, man. Yeah,
yeah, like that's
it's
the
aggravating.
thing, man. It's that he can't get out of his own head on some nights.
Well, Pat Williams might just not be a volume shooter. He might not be. He might be a 12 points a game guy, but that don't mean he doesn't have value if he's a defensive stalwart and he makes a couple physical plays a game that impact it, whether that be a block or an alley oop dunk on the other end. I mean, he can make an impact on the defensive end. Darius, you threw me off there. You look like
Oh, I'm
one of
sorry.
those
No,
SWAT.
I had something flowing in my eye. I'm sorry, man. My
No,
bad,
all
Justin. I'm
good,
sorry.
all
I'm
good.
sorry.
But he could still impact the game without scoring, guys. And maybe we just got to accept that.
But
He
see
ain't.
that means that the scoring has to come from somewhere else.
Yeah,
Now, Kobe had a heck of a season last year, but
phenomenal.
I don't see him averaging 28 to 30 points a night.
It's tough for a guard of
No,
his
the
size.
Bulls the Bulls don't have that guy outside of
Yeah,
DeRozan, man.
yeah. So
So
he
then, in that respect, guys, we got the NBA draft coming up. We got the Bulls at the 11th slot.
Oh God, I read the scariest thing today, man. I
Okay, I mean, let's start
let's
with
hear it.
that. Let's
I
hear it.
read I read three mock drafts. I can't remember the player's name. I'm not too.
Don Burr,
I
you
don't.
suck. Get
I
out
don't
of
have.
here, dude.
I don't have too much
Sorry.
knowledge on this draft, these prospects, but I read three mock drafts that had the Bears taking a two-way player that would fill the role of Alex Caruso, and it's just like
Is that Carter?
Yeah,
Devin
Devin
I
Carter?
Carter
think it was Carter.
out of
Yeah,
Devin
it
Carter.
was
Providence, right?
Carter. And like, I don't want to be reading that, man. I don't want to read that you're.
No, but dude, Devin Carter is being compared to Derek White.
I
like
heard his
and
shot greatly improved over the last season, but he was primarily known as a good defender over the first 2 years
Listen,
of his.
how many Devin Carters do we have on the team already? We got Io, and we got the
Io
kid
vastly improved his 3-point
the
shooting.
kid that came from Milwaukee from West Virginia.
Carter. His name's Carter, I think.
Carter, yeah. He he's a Chicago kid. Io's a Chicago kid. They have that same mentality now.
Devon Carter,
As,
guys, yeah.
as far as Devin Carter, his father's from Atlanta. I remember when his father was in his father didn't go to high school very much. His father was a street basketball player. Like a street
Okay.
he was known as a street legend. He didn't even finish high school, but he ended up in Hawaii somehow, and the rest is history. But his father had a defensive mentality just like him. He reminds me of his father. He's a little bigger than his dad though. But
Who's his father? I don't even know.
uh played for the Miami Heat. Uh, his name slips me.
Huh.
Uh, but oh man,
Well, I mean, what do you think of the idea? You're saying we have too many guys that already
yeah,
filled.
we have those guys on the team already, man. Like we need a guy that come in here and fill it up and get some rebound, and get busy down low, change some shots, and also be able to hit that 15 to 20 foot shot. You
Okay,
know,
so well, all those things in one player. Where we
oh
getting that?
yeah, man.
Where we getting that?
They're out there. They're
Ooh.
just very young, man.
I
His
mean,
his
Cody
dad
Williams. Cody Williams is a
his
guy
dad
who
was
could
Anthony
develop his
Carter.
shot.
Boom,
Cody,
there you go.
Anthony Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Okay, the
called
Played
point guard.
the
Okay.
Spurs and the Heat. Yeah.
he was called something else in the street.
What was it?
uh,
Is it a
but
secret?
he was called something else in the street. But like I said, he didn't do a lot of high school. He ended up in Hawaii somehow, man. And
Is
when I seen
11
him,
too high for Eddie? Eddie who? Illinois Jones.
Edie,
Oh,
Zach
Edie.
Edie. I like if we can get rid of Vooch. I like Zach Edie in
They
Chicago.
they
I like
called him the
Not
same
with
thing
the
as
11th pick, though. Yeah, that
they,
is
they
too high. And the Bulls don't have a second round pick.
they
So
called him the same thing as Alex Caruso. His nickname was AC.
well, like I said in the street, it wasn't AC.
Oh, that's what they call him in the NBA. They called him AC.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, 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 yeah.
just
But
too
in the
much
streets
relation
they
to
called him
Caruso.
something else. But um, Zach Edey, I would love Zach Edey in Chicago. A lot of people is against it because they're saying what he don't fit. I disagree with that.
are we talking about Edie at 11 though? That's not something I'm gonna back. No, I don't want Zach Edey drafted at 11. If we can trade for a second round pick and get him in the or a late first round maybe, I would consider that. But I do think Edey has value to an NBA team if he can just be a 12 to 15 minute a game rim runner and rim protector, and he can get a little agility, build a little bit on his mobility. He could be an impactful player in the NBA.
Zach Edey is gonna surprise a lot of people.
He's got the want to, and he'll fight. He'll fight for a spot on the team. I 100% agree with that.
It's either that or shooting, man. Dalton Connect before the Josh Giddey move. I was high on the kid from Kentucky, Rob Dillingham.
If he falls, that's an interesting one too. It is.
But
He could be the best player there.
I've set my sights on Dalton Connect, man.
I think Dalton Connect's going to be gone. I think a lot of people are setting their sights on Dalton Connect, and they're starting to really like what they see.
That's the 3-point kid, right?
Out of Tennessee.
Yeah, he does a lot. He does a lot more than 3 points.
Yeah.
Like he gets busy, man. He's not Doug McDermott. I was having a conversation with someone. I was having a conversation with someone earlier today, and they brought up Doug McDermott. Nah, this guy's a lot more fluid than Doug was.
Oof.
Yeah. No, he's that's why I think he'll be gone by number 7 or 8. I don't think he's getting to the Bulls at 11. I would love that, honestly, because he's got good size on the wing and he's got a smooth shot, and like he plays solid defense too. He's a good player. He is.
And he's a little older. He's a little older.
He's a lot older compared to a lot of these guys in the draft.
Yeah.
But I
How
mean,
old? How old is he?
I think he's like 23.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah,
22,
22,
23.
23.
Mm-hmm.
He's transferred a couple times. I'm pretty sure. I mean, at least once. I know he's gone to multiple schools
Yeah.
already in his college career. So I mean, he's got some better. I mean, he seems like a guy who would be good on a team that like Memphis. If Memphis got a Dalton Connect, that would be a good connection for them, I think, because
Nice.
because
Nice.
that team is ready to win. I think they had a weird season with Ja being out, but I think Dalton Connect could be like a role player that gives immediate impact to a team that's ready to win. I really do.
Would you guys say that the Bulls almost absolutely 100% need a big guy?
Not 100%, but
Well,
85. Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to re-sign Drummond. I don't think so. Who's their backup
No,
center? Who's their backup center right now?
Nobody. And I
no,
think
they got the kid. They got the kid from UConn. The big guy, the big man from
Oh
UConn.
yeah. I mean, he would
What
have
is
been
it?
playing in
I
the
don't
G
want to
League,
tear his
but
name up. Swango,
the
some of
guy
that nature.
the guy who played in the G League for him.
yeah,
Yeah.
Brandon, you've been texting me his stat line all year. You don't know his name?
I texted you the one game that he played. It's like Sonogo or something.
Yeah,
Yeah. There you
Aldana
go.
Sanogo. There you go.
Yeah, there you
Aldana.
go.
And
But
I mean, I don't feel good about that. So I mean, but like, who's the center that you can even take at that spot? I'll tell you guys this, and this I don't know if this is gonna come over the top or what, but I don't think it would be a reach. I think it might actually be a steal, and I've been saying this for a while. If the Bulls took Shannon with the number 11 pick, I think that guy's a lot more talented than some of these guards out there offensively. I
He's
think
one of the purest shots in
he's
college. His
gonna
shot is phenomenal.
immediately get buckets in the NBA as soon as he gets an opportunity.
he's electric. He's electric.
Yeah.
He's electric.
I would not be opposed to the Bulls going for that. I've not. He was higher up in draft boards, a couple months ago, and he just seems to be falling. And
Well, no, what happened was he got into a little trouble, man. But he's
yeah, but he's
cleared
been
up.
clear to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and there's another player in Illinois that should go in the second round. His
Would
name's
you
Marcus
trade Levine for the rights to draft Zach Edey?
Oh, Marcus
No.
Domask. Marcus Domask should be drafted too in the second
Yeah.
round, but that guy's one hell of a 3-point shooter, man. He's gonna play a role on somebody's team.
Mm-hmm.
I uh I I would not be disappointed if they took Shannon. I wouldn't be disappointed with a Cody Williams. I wouldn't be disappointed with a Dillingham if he fell because he could end up being the best. The thing about this draft is it's so up for grabs. Like
Mm-hmm.
the talent is so close together. You could be getting the best player in the draft at number 11, like the Suns did some years back with Devin Booker. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's the talent is so spread out. I don't think there's a consensus number one guy. To be honest,
It's
a lot
not.
of people are really high on Klingon. I don't really get it. To be
Me
honest,
neither, man.
his
Me
feet are
neither.
so slow. His feet are so slow. But I mean, he's a rim protector, and like that's the kind of draft this is, though. Where just because he has those specific skill sets, people know those will translate to the NBA. He can put the ball in the rim from close, and he can defend the rim.
Yeah.
So, like the Bulls could find their way into getting the best player in this draft potentially if they do the right thing. I mean, if Rob Dillingham fell to the Bulls at 11, I don't see, regardless of who you have on your team, I don't see how you pass on him.
Yeah. I mean, he's a very good player. He's a very good player. He went to Kentucky. Going to Kentucky, we weren't able to see who he really was. He had to play within that system around those other 5-star guys. Um, but yeah, he's a very good player. Getting him, I wouldn't be upset at all. I wouldn't be upset at all.
Who's your ideal guy? Who do you have your eyes on? You said Dalton Connect, but like
Yeah,
I don't know that
Don
that's
Connect,
realistic because he's going to be gone. He's going to be gone by the time the Bulls draft.
Don Connect, Zach Edey.
At 11. So you would take Edie at 11.
Listen,
You keep not answering the question.
no, no. I would definitely take him at 11.
Okay.
If we could, I definitely would. I mean, because
We'll
listen,
be able to. He'll be there. He'll be
I
there.
mean, what?
I think Jimmy Butler was the 30th pick, wasn't he?
Nah,
No.
he was.
No,
He was.
But he was the last pick of the first round.
Could have been.
28 to 30 somewhere. That sounds right. I don't know off the top of my head, to be honest.
Yeah, and we did. Yeah, we took Jimmy Butler late, but it took him 3 years to get on the
You
floor.
might be right, Brandon.
I thought he was the very last pick in the first round. I could have sworn.
Yeah, it took him 3 years to get on the floor.
No, but go
I
ahead.
think this draft gonna be very, in after a couple years, this draft is gonna be very much appreciated. Like it's getting, a lot of people got a lot of bad things to say about it, but it's just so many young international players that's in that top 10 or that top 7,
Aren't they
you
all
know,
French?
and you're not gonna really, I don't think you're really gonna reap the benefits of getting one of those guys until later on. I don't
Are
think
those
either.
are those two guys French, or did they just play in the French league? Are they both
Nah,
French?
Rise of
yeah,
Shea and Sar, yeah, they are
yeah,
both.
they're
Both
French.
French.
One of them played with Wemby, and it's been talks of San Antonio, trying to get the #1 pick to get him.
Yeah,
And
he was
knowing the
I
drafted
was.
Atlanta
30th.
Hawks, man, listen,
What's that, Sean, or Dustin's?
He was drafted 30th. Yep. 30th
knowing
overall.
the Atlanta Hawks, man, the Atlanta Hawks, they may entertain it, but if they do entertain it, you have to get both of those top picks for San Antonio if you're gonna entertain it. But I don't think they should.
If I was
Absolutely
San
not.
Antonio, I'd be trying
Illinois.
to move those 2 picks for Trae Young.
Illinois Jones.
Mm,
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Do you think Purdue would have made it to the NCAA final without a
no.
DB? No, yeah, definitely not. No, but I mean, you see this all the time with guys that can dominate at the college level because of size, but then that size becomes less of a factor in the NBA, or their lack of speed becomes more of a determining factor in their success.
Kofi Coburn.
Yeah, or Hassim Thabit, or like any like there's some guy there's even I mean Emeka Okafor was a solid player, but he was dominant in college, and he did not transition to the NBA in the same
Well,
way.
he had a good first year. They were just on a terrible team. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, for
Kofi
sure. These
Coburn
guys
was
have
the
injury issues too, guys. That's another thing. And a guy as big as Edie is bound to happen where he's going to have some kind of foot issue or something of that nature. Like that's just that tends to happen when you're that tall and moving around that fast.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the Bulls are in a position to add a really solid player at the 11th pick. I think that if they could trade, well, I got some thunder going on here. I
Yes.
think I think if they could trade any of their veterans for more draft capital in this year's draft or the next year's draft, we should be looking to do that. I think
Yeah.
adding some young firepower. I would say Cody Williams or Terrence Shannon. Those are 2 guys that I would really want to see at that number 11 spot. And if I had, I think Shannon should be the guy. I think he fills the biggest need for the Bulls in terms of what they need 3-point
where
shooting.
is he
They need
projected?
offensive. I've
I
seen
got
him
another
fall
name for you.
to the
De
second
Silva.
round.
De
Oh,
Silva.
really?
De Silva out of Colorado. He's another very good player.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he
Yeah.
is.
Um.
And then Jacoby Walter as well. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a score. He's a good scoring guard. I mean, but he takes a lot of bad shots. Shannon. The difference between Shannon and some of these other scoring guards is he just looks more fluid. Going to the basket and his shot and his shooting motion. I mean, just in general.
His athleticism definitely jumps out to you.
Is that what they said about Yao Ming? Yeah, I mean, and Yao Ming dealt with a lot of injuries to his feet, for
The
sure.
stress factor ended his career.
Yeah, that's that was.
It was
Yao was a
actually
lot.
just a
Definitely.
Yao was a heavy guy, man.
hairline fracture, which is the worst thing for you, man.
Yeah. I was like
Yao was a
330
very heavy
pounds,
guy.
340 pounds.
Yeah, he was
And
a bottom heavy guy, man.
he was in boot camp in the off season. The guy never gave himself a break. The country didn't let him. He really did. He went to Chinese boot camp in
Yeah, I heard
every
that.
off season. The guy didn't get a break. That's until he got a break at his foot.
Jesus, Brandon. Give the guy a break. All right. I don't know, guys. I think we've about ran out of our time here. Is there anything else you want to touch on, Darius, before we get out of here?
Shout out to you guys, man. Shout out to the rest of the Chicago Sports Podcast, man. Great show. Shout out to the chat.
We got Illinois Jones has been super active these last Cheryl gave us an update on the Cubs Giants game. Ant Mass still in here. You guys have been great tonight. Appreciate all the feedback. Shout out to everybody in here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks,
but
guys.
I'm nervous, man.
About
I'm nervous about what these guys are gonna do in this draft, man. But at the end of the day, I shouldn't have my expectations built up so high.
the Panthers just won the Stanley Cup, guys.
Wow,
Wow,
2-1 over the Oilers. Low
wow.
scoring affair.
that's
They
all right.
gave up three.
Connor McDavid will get one.
They gave up a 3-game lead in the final or the final. I don't want to call it the finals because everybody gets upset. They gave up a 3-0 lead and they managed to still win it. That's crazy.
Hey,
You don't want to say that Connor McDavid will just win one. There's no way to look at some players throughout history that you thought would and just never did, man. And all these sports, that sucks. That's got to be heartbreaking for
I don't
Connor
want to empty.
McDavid and all those guys.
The
I don't want to
unfortunate
empty
thing
our
is only
chat.
one
But
team wins at the end of the year, man.
how long do you guys think Angel Reese's record goes?
The double double record, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she just broke it.
I don't think there's any reason she should not get a double double the rest of this damn season.
Yeah,
To be honest,
she just got number 8, I think, right?
Yeah. I think it goes throughout the whole season, man. I think the rookies are doing a good job of gelling together and growing together, man. I think they just need some better perimeter play.
Yeah, yeah, that
Um,
team's still weak. Yeah,
Shout out to Teresa Witherspoon though. She's really putting her imprint on those young ladies. You can tell, they're a lot more intense. They have a lot they have a better attitude, better more swagger about them. And to find I like yesterday was the first time that I've watched a whole WNBA game in a long time, and I was impressed, man. I was impressed. I really was. Not to say this because they're women, but it was honestly a good competitive game all the way through. Now, of course, neither one of the teams are very good, but they had the two, they had three of the top picks in the draft going against one another, so it was interesting all the way through.
yeah, and I think you said something like Caitlin Clark. That team still needs to get used to her play style. It's
Yeah, yeah,
like when Magic came into the league, when he was throwing passes, guys weren't catching them. They were
yeah,
bouncing off their heads because
yeah.
they weren't
Missing
ready
layup,
for what he was
missing
bringing.
layups, and all that, man. But she's going to be phenomenal. She's getting. I mean, not to brag too much on her, but she's when she's getting it together physically and mentally. Like she's not walking around limp and getting pushed around like she did at the beginning of the season. It's a difference.
she got charter flights.
Yeah,
Look at
yeah.
this girl. This girl got the first charter flight for a WNBA team in the history of the sport. Like,
Well, like I said to Darius before we got on here, I'll start taking them seriously when they take themselves seriously, the WNBA, honestly. And if they're doing things like that, trying to make the game play conditions better for their players, advertise their game,
yeah,
market it
especially sure.
properly, right? And and just improve the overall experience of watching a game. I mean, I'm all for it. I'd love to see competitive basketball being played, and honestly, over the last couple of years, I've probably watched as much women's college basketball as I've watched men's. The men's
Hmm.
game is suffering a lot, and the women's game is really starting to
That
step up.
UConn
So
team was outrageous, man. There's not a team that how many wins did that UConn team have in a row?
the men's team,
No, the women's team.
from like, are you talking about from like 10 years with Gino Auriemma and all that?
The
I
team
don't.
the team that didn't lose a game for like a season and a half.
Oh yeah, that was when they had.
Was it Pat Summit? Was the it was oh yeah, it was old
You
team.
talking
Pat
about
Summit was
Tennessee?
Volunteers. Gino
Tennessee.
Auriemma was the coach of
The
that.
coach. Yeah,
Yeah,
didn't
but
that team
both.
win like 2 straight seasons? Or go two
Yeah,
seasons without losing a damn game or something like that?
listen, Oriama and that UConn squad was ridiculous. I remember when I was in high school going into college, and when Rebecca Lobo was playing with them, it was just no match for him, man. And he kept that thing afloat for some years, man. Like UConn was a shoe in to win damn near every year until Pat Summit, got her weight up and started getting those great players too. You know, for the longest, you know, all the great players are gravitating to those two universities. You know, he had a few that chose not to go that direction and just trickled out of other work in other places. But Pat Summitt and Gino Orieno had a chokehold on recruiting. You know, these young ladies.
Yeah, no doubt. Now Connecticut men's is looking like they're about to go on their own dynastic run,
Mm-hmm.
and Hurley decided to stay at UConn. I mean, I think he probably made the right decision. I think
Smart man, smart man.
that Lakers situation is just going to get worse, and now that they've hired JJ Redick, it's
Yeah, why doesn't LeBron just coach that damn team as well as play on it?
That's what I
that's what I
say.
want to see. I want to see I want to see a player coach win an NBA championship. Man, like that would be amazing. That would be a great story. And if any player could do it, it would be LeBron. To be honest, they already count on him to be a coach on the floor as it is. So I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I mean that UConn team. I was listening to a Hurley interview earlier with Ryan Russillo, and that guy just brings the intensity, man, and the players respond to it. And if you go to Connecticut to play basketball, that's all you're freaking doing is playing basketball because there ain't much else to do there. There ain't
Yeah. He
stores,
comes from good
Connecticut.
stock, man. He comes
Yeah.
from great stock. Like I remember when he's playing. I remember he played for Seton Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with PJ Carlissimo and Terry DeHare and them guys. Like I remember when he played for them. But his father, and of course we all know
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Hurley.
Dookie.
Those guys have put a real imprint on New Jersey basketball up there, man. And he has it honest. Of course I think he was a little he was a lot closer to his father as far as the coaching than Bobby was. But Bobby was the better player.
Got a couple of good comments here from Illinois Jones while we're still here. McDavid will still win the Conn Smythe Trophy. That's I mean, I could see that happening for sure. Cubs 1-0 over the Giants going in the bottom of the fourth, says Cheryl. And I hope the Bears can get a new stadium built downtown or Arlington. The reason LeBron could be a player coach is because he's all about team above personal agenda. That is
I
complete
don't
horseshit.
I don't agree with that.
Do have you
I don't
guys?
agree
So
with
I don't
that.
like. I
He's a
haven't
smart
dove.
player, but he's definitely all about his own personal
You
agenda.
better believe that.
I'm sure
I
you
mean, it
guys
might
have.
revolve around winning, but it's still his agenda.
Yeah.
I haven't watched too much NHL the last couple of seasons, but I watched over the last couple of days. I've watched basically highlights of Connor McDavid from the last few seasons, and my God,
He's the fastest skater that's
I
ever played
dude, the guy,
hockey.
he can deke through
Illinois
three
Joe.
defenders without losing the. I've never seen anything like it, and I mean, I remember Gretzky. I remember Chelios. We watched Patrick Kane. That dude is different, man. Connor McDavid. We're talking about Caitlin Clark and the impact, and I've heard so Scotty Scheffler and the impact he's having on golf right now.
Hmm.
Connor McDavid is unreal. Watch 30 minutes of highlights of that guy, and every play, the next play following the last, you're gonna be like, he didn't do that. That didn't just happen. And he does it again, and it's just ridiculous, man. I've never
Yeah,
seen hockey played
he
like
can
that.
stop and turn on a
Yeah,
dime, and he's the fastest skater on the ice. It's pretty crazy to see.
it's
I don't.
outrageous.
Yeah, yeah. And Illinois Jones says we rock. I think you're the only one here, my man. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We've gone a little long.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Charles.
Guys, it's been an awesome show. I've had a lot of fun. Brandon, great job. Darius, great job. You guys
Yeah.
really brought the thunder tonight. I could hear it over here, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Good,
everybody who joined
good
us in the
job
chat.
hosting, Dustin.
What's up?
Good job hosting. It's fun doing this.
Oh yeah, no, this has been a blast. Me and Darius did one last week. I thought was really good. I mean, me and Darius are thinking about starting our own show, the Double D's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah, man. Heck of a show tonight, guys.
Yeah. A lot of fun. Thanks everybody for being here. Shout out to all of our sponsors, Bridges Scoreboard, Serendipity. Guys, if you're still in here, hit the like and subscribe buttons. Come join us we got another show coming out on Wednesday. We got another show coming out on Thursday. Darius will be on that one as well, right?
Yes,
Then
indeed.
we'll come back again at you guys on Monday. Love some DDs. But we're just doing our best to put out content for you guys as much as possible. And if you like it, please let us know by liking, subscribing, and sharing. We wouldn't be able to do it without you guys in here commenting in the chat. So we really appreciate that from you. Brandon, have a great night. Darius, have a great night. Chicago,
Likewise,
very nice.
likewise. You
All
fellas be
right.
safe tonight, man.
Thank you. Thanks to Brandon Tracks, by the way,
Yeah, shout out to Tracks, man.
setting this up
Thanks,
for
Trax.
us. Yep. You guys have a lovely evening. Bear down.
Bear down.
Good night, guys.